Hi guys, welcome to another edition of the Rangman Show. This is our second channel that we run along with Corded Point, started by Dev Tyagi and me. Here we honor non-cricketing heroes. In our first episode, we paid tribute to a man who Dave abides by, whose DNA is sort of inculcated in Dave's DNA, called as Tom Hanks. And today we celebrate another human being. He has nothing to do with Hollywood. He has nothing to do with sports. But he is rather a man, a legend, an icon, a force of unity, and a champion of humanity like no other. So who are we talking about? We're talking about the great Madiba, Nelson Roylala Mandela. We celebrate him on his 103rd birth anniversary today, which is a very big day for Dave and me because we really look up to that man. So speaking about leaders, Dave, is there any person that you put in a similar mold who you really look up to as a global leader? And please don't tell me
To be honest,
Mahatma Gandhi, there can be more.
um, Pranay, there can only be, and there was only one and only Nelson Mandela. But a person who I look up to and really admire is actually Angela Merkel, the current Chancellor of Germany. The two people are extremely distinct in their personalities. One is already a part of everlasting history, and the other is still making history in the Bundestag, the German parliament, that is. But she was the great unifier of Germany in an era where there was financial unrest, where capitalization hadn't really become a statement in caps lock on, with caps lock on. And she helped Germany expand its business relations and reach those nations with which it had not enjoyed a great diplomatic relation. Apart from the fact that this was a mighty woman leader in the parliament, as the head honcho of a country which is considered to be strongman of Europe. Angela Merkel has been very graceful in her conduct. I'll give you a very small episode. Intentionally, Vladimir Putin, when he met Merkel in a very important bilateral meet, he unleashed upon her his fiercest dog, knowing well that she's scared of dogs, petrified rather. But she did not do anything. Even after the meet was over, she did not relent. Meeting Putin again. She did not write to him, and she was very graceful in her conduct, despite sitting erect in one position and just afraid to even breathe. So that speaks of the grace of the lady. And under her tutelage, India and Germany have become closer than they were before. Today, you have more students going and studying in Germany than they were in the last 2 decades. So that's a quick bit about Angela Merkel. But where it comes to Madiba, he's a human being extraordinaire. He's, I think, during his time, correct me if I'm wrong, he was the greatest living champion of human rights, a person second to none. And any human being who unifies the country and does his bit in eradicating racial tensions must be celebrated and must be tipped the hat to.
100%. It's actually good that we were discussing about Angela Merkel. It's so refreshing to see that Germany now has a good financial might over and above the military might they had in the 1940s. So that's been rather refreshing to see. Uh, Speaking about Nelson Mandela, my earliest memory about the champion was when I saw the movie Invictus. I mean, I had obviously heard of him before. I had read a little about him, but seeing that movie and seeing the way through something like sport, like rugby, he fully managed to eradicate racial tensions and bring a united South Africa to the fore when South Africa lifted the Rugby World Cup. And it was a beacon of light that this Protea land, this rainbow nation, so to speak, stood up in harmony and showed that they're so capable to the world. So that was a very beautiful occasion for me in 1994 when South Africa, 95 rather, when South Africa lifted the Rugby World Cup with Mandela being the pioneer. And obviously, the army was led by Francois Pienaar, who was the captain of the Rugby World Cup, the Springboks at that time. So that's a everlasting memory. And in fact, one of your favorite directors, Mr. Clint Eastwood, has made a very befitting tribute to this great occasion through the movie Invictus, in which Matt Damon, right? He plays
The
Francois
Sebastian
Pienaar,
Vettel of acting.
the
Yeah.
Sebastian Vettel of acting. He plays Francois Pienaar, and the great Morgan Freeman plays Nelson Mandela. This movie had come in 2009. It was simply brilliant.
Right. Speaking of movies, I want to tell you an unknown fact. There was a movie made by the great Hollywood director Spike Lee on Malcolm X. And in the final scene, towards the ending, Mr. Mandela appears himself in the movie as a school teacher,
Wow.
and he's addressing a class. He's reading out a letter or a poem. I don't quite recollect what. And it was Mr. Mandela in a movie made on another great black man, directed by arguably one of the greatest black directors we've had in history, Spike Lee. So he's
You
been
know,
there in
speaking
the
about
movie.
poems, Dave, when we're going to end this podcast, I would like to recite a poem called as
Please
Invictus,
do.
which
Please do.
when Mr. Mandela was incarcerated for 27 years at Robben Island, that was his philosophy that kept him motivated, that kept him strong. So we'll go to that a little later. And precisely that's the name of the movie also, which is Invictus in 2009. Was made by that was made by Clint Eastwood. You know, speaking about Morgan Freeman playing Mandela, did you know that when unfortunate the demise of Mandela happened in 2013, in a place in Kerala, they actually paid tribute to Morgan Freeman, thinking he's Nelson Mandela.
that
So
that in a way is
that
amazing,
was
because it just goes to show that he became so intrinsically part of the movie, so irreplaceable a figure, that they thought he is Mandela. And as
yeah,
a
it's
matter
so
of fact,
nice that you bring that up because the world knows that how South Africa did a fabulous job of hosting the 2010 FIFA World Cup. And during the final, you had Morgan Freeman also grace the occasion, and you had the late great Nelson Mandela also there. And they actually embraced each other, which was truly a sight to behold. And I'm sure Morgan Freeman is really inspired by the great Madhiga. So, Dave, speaking about
let me
inspired,
sorry let me tell you one more thing. Speaking of inspiration, it seems that even birds are inspired by Nelson Mandela. Ask me how.
how,
Well, there is a woodpecker, which today, a species of a woodpecker, which is named after Nelson Mandela. That's
oh,
that's the truth, actually.
wow,
And if you
that's
see, there may be a spiritual sense in this. The woodpecker really, gets it hard into its job. He goes into the depths, and that's what Nelson Mandela did. He carved out a space for himself by removing all the racial tensions, because he wanted equality and unity at the end of the day to flourish. And that is what the woodpecker also does. He just removes that, slices out the layers of wood, because he's so strong in hitting the depths of what he wishes to, or what it wishes to achieve, rather.
Mandela stood by two very important words. One was forgiveness and one was reconciliation. Because forgiveness for the
Wow.
ills of apartheid and reconciliation because obviously he knew that South Africa is a nation that belongs to every South African who lives in it, irrespective of race, color, creed. So that is where reconciliation happened. And I'll go back to the Springboks. The Springboks winning the World Cup was a big testimony to the fact that South Africans could stand together and show to the world that they are one. I mean, despite the some ill-fated occurrences that are happening right now, but keeping that aside, on Mandela Day, every South African is supposed to do 67 minutes of random kindness, an act of random kindness to show the 67 years of struggle of this great leader. So that is
Wow.
something which is very important to every South African. And here we are trying to do about 30 minutes to pay a tribute to this great gentleman. Dave, I think you've frozen.
Actually, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Great.
sorry. Yeah. So, talking about the word inspiration, what does inspiration mean to you, Dave? I mean, from your
I think,
personal understanding of the word, what do you associate inspiration with?
well, for example, if I were to answer this question in terms of the first person who springs to my mind when you say the term inspiration, then it is Subhash Chandra Bose, because I grew up in a family. I served the country's armed forces. My father used to be a
Could you
frequent
repeat
fighter
that,
in the
Dave?
Indian Air Force.
We
Once upon
lost
a
you
time.
there. Could you repeat that?
Yeah. So I'm saying that speaking of the term inspiration,
Yeah.
the first person who comes to my mind is Subhash Chandra Bose, Netaji Bose, because I grew up in a family where a lot of quite a few members of my family and including the extended family, that is, have served the country's armed forces. My father was in the Indian Air Force before he had to retire quite prematurely, which was an end to a sad dream. um, my father's cousin brother has served India in the capacity of an Air Chief Marshal S.P. Tyagi. He's given 4 decades of service to a country. He's fought 2 wars. So I grew up in a family where I was told stories about Swami Vivekanand and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. There used to be a comic in our good old days called Amar Chitra Katha. So the first Amar Chitra Katha I ever read, which I was also recited, was on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. So that is inspiration, and the meaning of inspiration is to put yourself on the line for the country, to put yourself in the service of others, to put yourself. And I'm not really trying to boast about my ideals or whatever. Is to stand up for the other person. And but coming back to Nelson Mandela, how one person started a movement and stood up to unite a nation single-handedly by becoming the father figure of unification, of exterminating differences in color, is exemplary. The kinds of which a life, the kinds of which we shall never see again. It is actually hard to imagine in today's world where a movement like Black Lives Matter has to be born to ensure that people with the darker skin color get respect. I mean, I think you followed the soccer game, Italy versus England. I think there were three English
Unfortunately,
players.
there were three black English players who missed the last three penalties, and
That's
they were
so that's
really
not done.
bombarded at on social media, which was very sad. I mean,
So,
there was
so
such
that's
racial
not done.
slurs directed towards them. But speaking about them, I was really happy that our captain Harry Kane stood up for them, and he said that it's whatever happened is devoid of race, it's devoid of skin color. Uh, if even a white man would have missed, would they have been subject to such racial tension? We don't know. So it's really
Yeah.
unfortunate. And this brings me to two words which I think are very important in today's time. The two very simple words. You tell me what you associate with them. The words are colorblind.
The
So
word is
because
colorblind.
yeah, two words, colorblind, or you can take this as one word also. So what does that sort of strike a chord with you?
First of all, in a lighter note, it reminds me of a beautiful song called Colorblind, which
That's
I
right.
had heard in during my school days. I think it was the singer's name was Darius or something.
That's right.
But coming to the subject matter, colorblind is where everything is uniform, where all colors of rainbow become one. You know, if you actually say colorblind, then the first recollection, if I have to think hard, if I have to think properly, is the color white. And I think that comes to the fore because white stands for purity, it stands for simplicity, ideals which are quickly evaporating from into the unknown in this world. So that's what colorblind means to me, where there is no more a need to distinguish yourself basis color. The kind of an ideal society which perhaps exists in some utopian novel, um, and the reason that it doesn't is because the world in which we live is full of dystopia. So
When I think about the word colorblind, it reminds me of an Absolute vodka ad, which says just two words: born colorless. And
wow.
for me, the word colorless is the base to which you make the word colorblind. So as you were saying that white is one color, which sort of is a sign of purity. For me, the color which is no color is the sign of purity, because it's not the color that matters; it's your act that matters. And especially in today's time, when we are sort of ingrained into movements like BLM and stuff like that, it's very important to take a step back and realize that we are human beings first, and our acts will define us when we go into the heavens. And there is no place for color. And I hope
Yeah.
people do understand that. And these racial slurs is very disappointing, especially when I see them in sport. It really kills me, Dave. Because even if the great man was alive today, he wouldn't want anyone to look at the other person through the lens of color. Because I'm sure Nelson Mandela never did that. He was a very kind-hearted a person who had a lot of forgiveness. Imagine 27 years he was incarcerated and he was imprisoned recklessly at Robben Island. And still, when he came out, he maintained the emblem of the Springboks, which was the pride of the Afrikaner. And he carried that forward, and he made the whites realize that they are welcome in this nation. And because of that, they played so well in the Rugby World Cup and they lifted that. That I come back, I keep coming back to that movement. That movement
Mr.
wasn't only
Mr.
about
Mr. Kolisi, I'm sure in his
yeah, Kolisi,
bedroom or in his living room he has a picture of Nelson Mandela because
100%,
I've heard he is hugely inspired by him.
100%. So in 1995, when Francois Pienaar lifted that cup, it wasn't only South Africa winning the Rugby World Cup. It was South Africa winning a race battle. It was South Africa showing to the world that after years of uncertainty, after years of regret, after years of violence, they could stand together as a nation. And the second time that I saw South Africa come together as a country was when they won the 2019 World Cup. The Springboks under the person you just named, Siya Kolisi, they lifted this Rugby World Cup in 2019. The
It's beautiful,
celebrations
man.
on the streets I saw was incredible. It was fantastic. Me sitting in India was so mesmerized and so overwhelmed by this emotion that engulfed me. It was pure delight, pure
But
delight.
do you think in the aftermath, in the post Mandela era, the first man who became the first black president, right, of South
Yeah.
Africa, do you think South Africa as a nation is living up to those ideals now? It's just a humble question.
Unfortunately, not, Dave, because right now, with as I mentioned in an article also yesterday, there is a lot of fear amongst local residents in two provinces of South Africa, which is KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, because of this protest, the so-called protest, which is resulting in looting, burning, murders of innocent citizens. So unfortunately, no. But then again, I have this belief that sport, as the great Mandela said, has the power to unite people like little else does. So I'm sure that
I was wanting you to come to that. Yeah.
when the Springboks, in fact, the Springboks are scheduled to play the British and Irish Lions in a week's time. They're playing 3 test matches. So if they do well, I would definitely see the average South African put his racial tensions aside, put his flights aside, and still unite to celebrate the country we know as South Africa.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
for
it's
one,
been a classic case that whenever there's been uncertainty, sport has played such a decisive role in this country. to bring people together, it's not funny.
Yeah.
So I'm again looking to sport, looking to cricket, looking to rugby. Maybe South Africa does well at the Olympics also, who knows? So, but
Well, first of all, let's just hope that the Olympics are conducted without there being any COVID tensions, because I think there's already a few cases that have come from Tokyo. There's news, or I don't know. I just hope they are rumors, because, and I don't want to digress, but holding the Olympics, an event like Olympics, at such a time is a no-brainer according to me. You're putting the life of an athlete on the line. Many of the athletes are could be, especially in countries like India, sole breadwinners for their families. So, but coming back to the topic of Nelson Mandela, what's the one definitive story or tale of inspiration apart from the Invictus bit that you like the most, and why?
for to honor the great gentleman, uh, there are many. There's practically everything. In fact, I will talk about a scene from the movie Invictus only. So when Mandela took the presidentship at Pretoria, there were a lot of white people who thought they would lose jobs. But his first listing was that my government would stay, and please don't think that anyone, because of the color of their skin, would lose their job. So that was like really phenomenal at that point in time. So he created that certainty because when you have fear, the only word that can arrest fear is certainty. And the man basically brought that, at least for the time he was president. So
Yeah,
that was again very inspirational for me.
I think
And
he's been
obviously,
somebody who's inspired even scientists and researchers around the world. And I'll tell you why. The University of Leeds in 1973 uh, actually named a particle called the Nelson Mandela particle. So
uh,
he has dabbled in physics without him having to do a part, but his life story being the inspiration behind it. Imagine the Mandela particle. That's crazy, right? You have something to do with the world of physics.
have you seen this movie Long Walk to Freedom, where I forget that actor's name? He played the role of Mandela, which was basically
For for
a
somebody who
journey through
takes a
his life.
long walk to even reach the treadmill, that's a wrong question being asked.
But
I
guys,
haven't. I haven't. I
I
will
would
watch.
really urge the viewers to watch this movie, The Long Walk to Freedom, and in fact read two books also. One is Nelson Mandela Conversations with Myself, which again gives us a lot of insight into his time at Robben Island, and the other one is Nelson Mandela Dare Not Linger, which is again
I couldn't quite get that. Can you repeat?
Nelson
Nelson Mandela.
Mandela Conversations with Myself is one book which gives insights into his time at Robben Island, and the second one is Dare Not Linger, which is the life story of Mandela. And obviously, there's a
Dare
book,
not linger.
Dare Not Linger, and obviously,
Yeah,
there's a third one, Mandela Long Walk to Freedom, which has been converted into a movie also. So I would really urge the viewers to check these three books and obviously check the movie out. So, Dave, you had something to talk about the great man pre his time in prison.
I think it's a frozen frame right now.
Now, is it better?
Yes, yes, it is better.
Just one sec. Just showing connection is on screen. Am I audible now? Can I be seen? So I'm saying that you had one interesting thing to talk about this great man pre his time at Robben Island. So I would like you to educate our viewers about this.
Um, so this is considered to be an actual tale in 1962, right? When Mr. Mandela was traveling across to various other African nations, inspiring them and pushing them to join his fight and lend support to South Africa minus the racial discrimination. So he also visited one of the countries that he visited was Ethiopia, which had then an Israeli embassy, which still exists even today. And so this gentleman, and by the way, Madiba used to be a master of disguise because he feared being caught. So two guises which he would often
Much
take
like
was that of
Bhagat Singh and the other
yes,
guy, I'm forgetting his
Rajguru,
name, Rajguru.
Rajguru,
Right.
Rajguru. Yes. So
No, no,
he would
there was a
often
third guy also. Yeah, he was the biggest disguiser of them all. The main
who was
guy,
the
man,
biggest?
uh, Chandrasekhar Azad.
Yeah, Chandrasekhar Azad for sure. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So he would often use the guise of a butler and sometimes that of a chauffeur. So he goes to the Israeli embassy and he actually first writes a letter under the pseudonym of David. He became some David. I don't remember the surname. And this is something which the Israelis have admitted in their state archives. So, and he said that I aspire to undergo weapons training and actually not weapons training, but training in self defense. So the Israelis obliged. And Madiba actually received training in judo, self defense, and weapons. And
Wow.
in their report to the newspapers, so one of the famous newspapers in Israel is Haaretz, right? So they said that we have extended full support. The Ethiopians, quote unquote, and the Ethiopians were the Israeli secret intelligence agents of the feared, the dreaded intelligence agency, the Mossad. So they said that the Ethiopians have obliged, and we have tried to extend full support to Mr. David, who wanted to do a 3 month internship, a 3 month extensive training. And the best part of the story is that the Israelis at that point of time did not know the identity of the man who received the training. So that's the greatness of Mandela, that he went, of course, he had to be unscathed. They were not going to attack him. But to keep your identity hidden from even the Mossad is, I think, a tale which is par excellence, as they say in French. So that's an interesting fact. It just goes to show the extent to which he went to make himself prepared, because he was drawn to the Israeli concept of Haganah. It was a military organization which existed even before a proper Israeli uh, defense establishment, so to speak, military establishment, so to speak, came into place. So viewers should read about the Haganah. It's a very interesting part of Israel's journey.
It's so awesome to just figure this journey from having a military mindset to being incarcerated, and as a
Yeah,
result becoming someone who is full of peace and forgiveness is testament to the great man. I mean, how many people would think in this fold? Because you build a country only on peace, forgiveness, on reconciliation, and on trust. And
yeah.
unfortunately, the word trust is what's lacking in South Africa right now. So I sincerely hope
Yeah.
that they abide by the concept of trust and they start trusting each other to again build this beautiful country.
Because South Africa is a country without which we cannot imagine the firmament of the world. It's a country which has given a lot to this world. It's a country whose struggle story has inspired countless. Like for example, and I'm not boasting about you. I'm not sure how many Indians today are making a podcast on Madiba and celebrating his life, because today much of our attention is on celebrating Priyanka Chopra's birthday. I think it is today.
Oh, she shares
Who's
it with
not
a great man. I didn't know that.
Spriti Mandana for sure does, but I think it is also Priyanka Chopra's birthday. So I think, or
Wow.
was it yesterday? So I think where much of our attention is on cricket and film, which are wonderful, which are wonderful for sure. They aren't to be blamed. Just how many Indians in Bombay? You might be the only Indian in Bombay who's speaking right now, Nelson Mandela. Probably no Indian journalist is making a podcast on Madiba. So hats off to you, Pranay. Whilst you may not want to put your hat off, but I give you hats off.
I just feel humbled, Dave, doing this, man. And I feel so privileged having my brother, Dave Tyagi, by my side to
Thank you.
actually pay tribute to this great man. So, Dave,
Uh,
any.
is
Yeah,
it safe to say that he would have been one of the people you would have wanted to meet in flesh and blood?
100%. 100%. In fact,
Very
he's
beautiful.
one of the very few people I would love to meet in flesh and blood. Maybe the other person I really like and I wish I could meet her was Indira Gandhi. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, I was very fond of the
and
way
he
she
and
was a
then
decisive leader, and I wish
and
I
you
could
could
meet
have
her
also
in person.
then I wished you did, and you could have asked her that who was the CIA agent who was in her office all the time under her nose, and she was not able to. Well, whatever they say, a lot of things about her that CIA
And
was
obviously,
in
there's a
front of.
third gentleman also. I'm sure you would also love to meet that guy if we ever had a chance, and that's Martin Luther King. I mean,
Oh
who wouldn't want to
yes,
meet him?
yeah, yeah,
Because he was
extraordinary
another
gentleman.
champion of a person who lived his life on his acts and not
Yeah,
on spreading racial tension, much like Nelson Mandela did. Uh,
yeah,
and there's a very famous quote from this great man that he dreams of a day when his children will be judged on their acts rather than the color of their skin. I'm not getting the quote perfectly right. I don't have it in front of me. But basically, the meaning was that whatever you do should define you rather than who you are in terms of what God has made you. So
right.
that's again something which really struck a chord with me because I am a big propagator of being colorless, being
Right.
color blind in that sense, respecting humans for what they do rather than how they've been made. So
Right.
those are very important words. So as we end this podcast, Dave, I think we've discussed quite a bit on the great man because I mean, no time is enough to honor this champion of humanity. But
True.
since
Absolutely.
we have a we have limited time to do this, are there any parting words that you would want to talk about this champion? And then I would want to recite the Invictus and actually tell our viewers how the last line really resonates with me as a person.
I think the only thing I would want to say is that amongst the many is that in a world full of color, you stood up for every man and woman acting like his or her brother. Uh, and generations to come uh, will crave for a man as humble, humane, and as distinct as you. You know, we shall never see the likes of Nelson Mandela again, and there will be many more human rights champions who will come and grace this earth, and perhaps put their lives on the line to make this world a better place. But the unifier of a country so segregated by color, hats off to him, and hats off to his ideals on which he lived and inspired others, because his dream was to be one. And uh, under the sky, under the heaven, this is not me, this is Confucius saying, we are but one family. And I think the sooner mankind realizes that, the better it is for everyone.
Very good words, Dave. Very good, very deep words. So, guys, I would just like to recite Invictus, the poem. Just bear with me. So, this is by this old poet in the UK, William Ernest Henley, and he was he was the person. Or rather, his poem was what inspired Mandela during his time at Robben Island. So the poem goes like this: Out of the night that covers me, back as the pit from pole to pole, I thank wherever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced or cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but not unbowed. Beyond this space of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters now how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I think just very beautiful words. And in fact, the last two lines, I am the master of my fate and I'm the captain of my soul, have defined the way I have started living my life because what I honestly take away from this is that everything that you do is is a consequence of you the person and you need to be one with yourself, which is what these two lines sort of strike a chord with me. And the external circumstances can never dictate your outcome. You need to be in control of whatever happens because it's you, the person in charge. It's not the world that is in charge of you. So these are the words that I would like to end the podcast with. And they,
Very
I am the
powerful
master of
and
my
very
fate.
beautiful.
I am the captain of my soul. Cheers to
I
Nelson
know.
Mandela Day.
Respect
So
to Nelson Mandela, sir.
So guys, this was us. This was Dave Tyagi, my brother, and Pranay Rangram, me discussing the great Nelson Mandela. Uh,
My my
so
my
yeah,
my humble request to all South Africans who may be who may watch this is that kindly spare some precious minutes of your life on this podcast and try and spread this, because in an age where we are being captivated by cheapness and falling principles and ideals, we have tried to make a very small earnest case for a man who shall continue to inspire for generations to come. And the more South Africans see this, the more Pranay and me will get a hope that the word will carry forward, and you will actually then do your bit in paying it forward by spreading this podcast.
yeah.
Because the idea is not to get views for our podcast. The idea is to instill more hope and fearlessness and a spirit of unity in especially in South Africa, which really needs it a lot at this point in time. So
You
that's the
know,
only thing I had to say. Thank you.
taking on from what Dave said, I would just like to end this podcast with two more words. One is hope, and the other is change. So if we have hope, can only change happen, and we know not only South Africa but the world that we live in needs hope to make the change for the better. So that's what
Absolutely.
I would like to end this podcast on. And it was really nice having you, Dave. Please like, share, and
It was my
subscribe to
pleasure.
this video. And we will continue to bring such meaningful content. So until next time, that's Dave Tyagi and Pranay Ranga signing off. Goodbye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.